Alright, this is Dennis with Ford Air Solutions. This is how to do a pre-trip inspection. I'm going to try to make this video as quick as possible. You will need to spend approximately 10 minutes to 15 minutes doing this pre-trip because there's so much detail to a good pre-trip inspection. First, I would go to your truck, unlock your doors, and I would just turn the key over but not the engine on. That way your coil comm can get started. Okay, because your coil comm will be cut off, so you'll just want to click that like that, just so that your coil comm can start to boot, because it can take up to 6 minutes for those things to come on. Okay, next thing to do before even turning the engine on, you're going to want to make sure that you check your oil. This is your oil dipstick. Remove it, wipe it clean with a cloth. Make sure that it is in the safe area, not above full and not below empty on the dipstick reading. You also just want to check and just look around. If it's dark outside, I suggest using your cell phone or a flashlight just to kind of make sure that everything looks clean, there's no leaks, you don't see any hoses flailing around anywhere. You want to come to the other side of your truck and make sure that your coolant level is where it needs to be. It says full, that's full. Low is below that line. Don't let it get below that line. It can cut on a bunch of your truck lights and make your truck run horribly. Like I said, another important thing, a driver just called not too long ago here in Charlotte, was his belt. Check your belt. Make sure you just look at your belt. Make sure it doesn't have any cracks or tears in it. His had some cracks and tears, and he would have broken down if he wouldn't have caught that. So check your belts. Also, make sure after you've done that, just to check on the ground, make sure that there's no wet spots or oil leaks on any of your bolts down low where oil could be leaking. Any of your sidebars, your leaf springs are good. Okay, now that you do that, now that I would get in, now that you've checked your oil and your coolant level, go ahead and fire the truck up. First things first, we're going to look at these lights. I have a check engine light on this truck. It is not very safe to drive with a check engine light unless a certified mechanic has said that it is a code that will not affect you breaking down. Most times, once the check engine light comes on, the stop engine light will come on and then you won't be going anywhere. Make sure all your lights and gauges are reading good. My oil pressure is reading good. I'm not hot over in my water gauge. My air pressure is all built up. I have fuel and I have DEF. Alright, now we're going to fire up the lights, which is over here. Make sure those are all working. We'll get out in that second and check them. We'll cut them on. We need to make sure that the windshield wipers work. It's also a very good idea while you're on the ground with your hood popped to go and just grab your windshield wipers to make sure that you have enough wiper blade on your wipers. Because if you don't and it starts to rain, you're not going to get any rain off your window. Next important thing is to make sure that your defrost works. We're going to cut it to defrost, cut it all the way up. Make sure that that's blowing really good. And you can hear mine is working just fine. You also want to pump your brakes a couple times. Make sure that that's working. You see my brake pressure getting lower every time I hit them. It means your brakes are engaged, that the air is flowing through those. And if you give it a little bit of gas, then the pressure will build up. That's a good sign. You want that to happen. Next thing you want to do is blow your horn. You have one on your steering wheel and you have a big one above you, which is really loud. Make sure that those are working well. And now you can cut on your flashers. We're going to go out and check our lights. Okay, it is daytime. The truck is a little loud, so I'm going to cut the truck off just so you can hear me well. Okay, so you see the headlights and you see the flashers. Both sides of the flashers are working. If the flashers are working, your blinkers will be working. That's how it works. Also, you see the little amber lights to the side. Those are also flashing. Those are also representative of your blinkers so that cars can see you. Then you have 5 lights on top of your roof You should be able to see those. I know it's a little daytime. I tried to do this at night, but it didn't work that great. And you have two above them in the little gray areas at the very top of your truck. Those are lit up. Then on the sides, you will have two side marker lights. You'll have one in the middle of your truck, which you can see there, and one at the very end of your truck, which you can see there. That one's usually a reddish color. Okay, then the back lights, you should have 5 reddish color lights at the back. You see that the blinkers are working in the back. Your reverse lights and your brake lights, you will have to use a truck that's backed up to a dock, and you will need to look in the reflection of your dock door, or you will simply just have to ask one of your neighbor friends or co-workers to come out and just make sure that your reverse lights are working and that your brake lights are working. It's very essential that you know that before you head out of the yard. I'm not going to do both sides of the truck for the sake of the length of this video, but just some quick tips. Lift gates while you're back here. Make sure your lift gate works. You work for Ford Air Solutions, you're going to want to make sure that lift gate works. You're also going to want to make sure that your ramp pulls out, just in case something happens to your lift gate. Okay, after we've checked our lights and we made sure all the lights and brake lights and reverse lights work, we're going to come and give our tires a good swift kick, make sure that they're stiff. Also check the tread. I think the tread needs to be 2 30-seconds deep and no less than 4 30-seconds deep. If I'm not mistaken, you can check with your local DOT regulations on that. But you want to make sure, you can take a little hammer or your foot and just make sure that both tires are good. You also want to look into your hub. Make sure that no fluids are leaking out of your hub. Make sure that all these are tight. You don't have to touch all of them. You can see that they're tight. You can also see if they're loose. You also want to make sure that your leaf springs are not cracked, or that they're missing, or that they're broken. That's essential with these trucks. And then also just kind of look when you're with your flashlight or whatever you have, if it's dark outside, make sure that there's no fluid anywhere on the ground, that the ground is dry, and then just kind of check over your whole system of your truck. You're about to put your life in line with this truck, so just make sure that everything looks good. As far as tight, all the bolts, as far as no leaks and no hoses hanging out anywhere that shouldn't be hanging out. Once you're done doing that, gonna hop back up in your truck, and then you're just gonna log back into Qualcomm. You're gonna log your name in. Once you log your name in, you're gonna go to hours of service. And you could have done this a while ago. For the sake of the video, I didn't. After you check your oil and your fluid, your Qualcomm should come on, and then you can come and you're going to log in your name. You're going to go under hours of service, and then you're going to hit remarks, and when you hit remarks, it'll have a button for pre-trip and post-trip inspection. You want to select that and then finish doing your entire inspection. This video is about 8 minutes long, and that's actually a quick video, so you can see how easy it would be to spend about 15 minutes on a good pre-trip inspection. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks.